Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal show. And we have Guy and Kylie. I was going to say waiting in the green room. They are literally in the green room. There's not much room about it, but there's there's plenty of space, and it is very green. And they are, of course, from Eco and Beyond. And there are people already, I think, wanting to ask questions of them. They have uttered those immortal words that so many others want to utter. We bought a farm in Portugal. So let's bring them on and discover what possessed them to do such a thing. Guy and Kylie, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Very well, thank you. Nice to be here in the green room, as you said.
Look at you both. The biggest green room imaginable in central Portugal. Thank you for going to this effort of setting up your outside studio like this.
And it took hours to source this, this background.
Yes, well, you think, no, that's not quite the right tree. Let's have the olive trees and not the apple trees.
I tell you, it's a very careful angle, because if we look too much that way, you see a whole bunch of dishes. If you look too much that way, you see like the corner of a barbecue. So we've had to be quite precise about it.
Very good. Very Instagram. And you are, of course, Eco and Beyond with a growing legion of fans and followers around the world who, too, want to buy a farm in Portugal. So, yes, the first thing to ask you is, how did you get to be in this condition, as it were, in central Portugal? The proud owners of a farm here. I know you're enjoying it and loving it, and people are loving it.
Absolutely. It's the best decision I think we've ever made, quite frankly. And we've made many decisions along the way, some good, some bad. But yeah, I think for many years we were looking to do something, to move somewhere or just to travel more. Of course, travel now is very, very difficult. But we've been looking at options. We've been looking at different countries, and we came to Lisbon for I think like 4 days a couple of years ago, and we're like, really like the vibe here, really chilled out, even for a big capital city. And we're very kind of chilled out people. And I think it really spoke to both of us, which is why we then started looking at Portugal in a lot more detail.
And originally we did start looking for Lisbon properties, but then we realized how much more you could get for your money if you kind of lived out in the sticks. And we were like, well, that suits us even better, because then we can do a lot more, buy a bigger project, which this is our biggest project to date. So
very much so. But also I think we weren't honest with ourselves for so long about how much we just like our own company and the peace and quiet and the sound of the birds. And so this is the perfect place to do our thing and just be very content with each other's company and a project to keep us busy here and there.
How lovely. Because that, of course, is one of the pitfalls, potentially, isn't it, of moving with your partner to the middle of nowhere. You have each other. And that's about and
nothing else.
And the trees. So you find out if you get along or not. And you obviously do, which is wonderful. But you say this is the 4th renovation project, presumably not all in Portugal. You're global renovators, are you?
No, all previous ones in the UK.
Yeah, so all in London.
Yeah.
I started the first one 10 years ago with another husband, got rid of him, and then brought this one on board.
She needed different skills, you see, yes. So she brought me in to as manual labor.
So we finished that first one together and then did anher 2 together.
Right, and it keeps going on his toes, obviously, with that.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to earn his keep, right?
Superb. And you say you love Lisbon. And you could have made home in Lisbon. So did you have a few day trips out, or how did you get to discover the great outdoors of Portugal?
So we booked a property viewing trip in July last year, 2020. And we just picked somewhere that was on the map in the middle of the country. So we got an Airbnb in Ancião for a week, I think it was.
A week, yeah.
And we actually came over to find a rental apartment so that when we moved, we knew exactly where we were going to go, and we could kind of have it pre-set up with broadband, because I work remotely. And that actually went really, really well. We managed to just kind of settle on the first place that we went to see. And so we were like, well, while we're here, why don't we try and set up some property viewings? And many of them were in the area that we've landed on, which is near Serta.
But we also visited a couple out near Fundão to check out that region as well.
And a
couple down near Tamar.
Yeah. And so we were in the middle, and we just kind of branched out from here, there, a couple of places. But we really liked this area. There's something, again, it just kind of spoke to us. And
the architecture around here, particularly when the kind of manor houses, there's so many of them. We were like, yeah, this is, we're really into architecture, and taking a beautiful building and restoring it to its kind of former glory was really one of the key reasons we bought this particular place. But there's so many of them. We saw some really lovely properties
and some right wrecks as well. Like some really falling down ruins.
Yes, well, you have to pick your point, don't you? Which you say, I love this place, but actually this is going to kill me.
I mean, there are some places that it would literally be easier to knock them down and start again. But like Kylie said, we really like that experience of like bringing something back to life.
Yes, and so that people know, roughly speaking, as you did, looking at the map of Portugal. I mean, your central Portugal, ICA is a notable road, isn't it, in your part of the world?
It goes right through the middle of the country.
Yeah, Ancião, Certa, that kind of vibe. SCRTA is presumably your biggest, nearest town.
Yeah, I think, and Coimbra is about 40 minutes drive, I think, ish.
And then Tamar, similar to the south, I think.
Yeah, so it's kind of smack bang in the middle of the country, which is great in terms of if we have friends and family who want to visit, who can come into either Lisbon or Porto, and it's not too dissimilar travel-wise to get to us.
And they'll share that same wonderful journey and view coming from each of those airports and seeing the beautiful parts of Portugal that you know and love now. And I have to commend you on your intuitive gift, because you have chosen really well there to be close to. I mean, in my view, we have the competition final on Thursday evening on our webinar for the best place in Portugal, and Central Portugal is up against Lisbon, so you'll have an affinity, I think, with both sides. But for me,
Lisbon is beautiful.
It really is.
It really is lovely.
Yeah. I guess for people who wanted like a more gradual transition, if they've come from a more built-up area, you can go to Lisbon because it's actually very quiet and compared to other big cities like London. And then from there, you could go further afield. But we just went all in because that's kind of what we do.
And you've chosen so well to have Coimbra and Tamar close by, or, you know, accessible to you is a great choice. So if we may, let's say hello to a few people and see if we've got any questions coming in for you. Your website, of course, is ecoandbeyond.co, isn't it? For
That's
your
right.
that people need to know, and I'll put that in the comments as well. But ecoandbeyond.co, and we'll find out more about your ethics and values that have driven the project as we have our conversation here this morning, here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Bon dia alegria is what we say here on the Good Morning Portugal, and that's from Carlos Victor this morning. Jonesy, greetings from an Aussie living in Oregon. Bon dia. What, Kylie?
They get everywhere, those Aussies, I tell you.
You really did. Bon dia a todos from Michelle Castro Vieira. Good morning to you. Andy the Doc, our resident Doc, is here. Hola a todos. Bon dia, alegria de la ria, of course, this morning. Bon dia a todos from Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom. Hot here. It could even be approaching double figures there in Hertfordshire.
What? No, it's only April.
Believe it or not, have a fantastic day from Ian Turner. Mark Rigby, bon dia from damp but sunny Povoa de Varzim, further up north from us all here in Portugal. Bon dia alegria from Pen Hashkorzo. I'm going to have to learn how to say this correctly, but Pen Hashkorzo, I'm going to go with anyway so far. And I will be asking you how your Portuguese is going, Guy and Kylie, in just a moment. But really great. Really great to see Guy and Kylie this morning. Absolutely. The aforementioned fans and followers that you've got of your lovely project. Wayne Barker, bon dia todos. So great. Morning to you, Wayne. And Louise, look, so great to have Guy and Kylie on. I watch them religiously. Maybe what?
We're not very religious.
We're not religious.
I thought that said rigorously. I was like, you should just
chill out.
Yeah, just chill out a bit.
Take it easy. It's meant to be light-hearted. But maybe Louise dresses up as a nun to watch you. I don't know.
Well, maybe.
You know, in a Sound of Music style. We'll find out more, I'm sure. Bon dia alegria from Paul and Louise over there in the UK. Diogo is here. Hi. Hello. Good morning to all. Carry on with good job, Guy and Kylie. Happy New Day. So some words of encouragement if you need them there. Hello from Baltimore, from Jim White. And,
international.
There's people from everywhere.
We have a fabulous community here. There'll be some Norwegians and Finnish people here soon, I bet you. Hello from it's sauna, not sauna. Hello from Cadaval, from Rafael this morning. Good morning, Rafael. Bon dia from Joel up in Matosinhos. No school run today, so managed to get on. And Doc will definitely have questions for you. He's that kind of guy, probing and scientific, such as he is. Nigel Henry, I enjoy watching their project, saying yes, no. We have a
There is a lot of that.
There's a lot.
we have a small fruit farm in the Central Algarve for a year, and done 2 trips out, and still to bring our Portuguese water dogs out to the farm. Oh, that'll be a great moment, won't it? But like their project and fun. But and the OK Portugal and Indie Project too. Your sibling YouTubers, I think they're right.
Yeah.
Yes,
there's a huge number of people doing great stuff, which is really cool.
Yes. Do you think it's cause for maybe having your own channel? And then all of these different characters can be on there 24/7. Or we could have a sort of Big Brother.
Big Brother. Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. No, that sounds
Oh,
awful.
No.
We're not pitching.
You get to actually see everything that goes on, which is not pretty sometimes.
It's all in the editing, you see. We're very selective about what we show and what we don't.
There's an
We
insight.
even have days off sometimes. But we don't show those.
Okay, shock horror. These guys have a day off occasionally. Remember when we heard it first. Bom dia, everyone from Perafita. Admire your great courage and determination, Guy and Kylie. It's a labour of love for sure. All the best, guys, from Leslie Taylor there. And Jersey over in the States. Good morning, hola, bon dia, Carl. And I'm sure that's extended to you, my guest, as well this morning. Bon dia, alegria from another sunny day in Brixham. Okay, folks, let's have some questions while we've got Guy and Kylie here. I'm sure they won't mind. In fact, yes, if you're going to email them, don't, because they're busy people. Ask your questions here and now, and we'll deal with it. Hello from Belgium, from Marina. Hello from Belgium this morning. Love following the videos, especially all the small mistakes with Bunny.
Wait till the big one's coming up.
Oh, yeah. There's a good one this week. There's a good one.
Can you give us a little clue on to, well, maybe you don't want to break that exclusive, but tell us about these small mistakes then. What's being referred to here by Wayne?
Well, let me give you an example of one that's coming up this week.
No, do the past ones first.
Do the past ones.
Like a small mistake then.
Small mistake.
Most of the time it
is measuring.
It's measuring related. I'm not so good with, well, it's either a combination of measuring or memory. So sometimes you go and take a measurement because you're cutting a piece of wood, or you need to find out if something's going to fit just right somewhere, and then take the measurement and then have to go off and do something with it. And so that then requires memory. And I think that is sometimes where it falls apart. But yeah, I think that people people love the mistakes because I think it's part of the real story. And that's something that we've tried to do since the beginning, is just kind of show what it's really like. Yeah, the reality of moving here and doing something like this kind of project. Because I think sometimes people don't think that's interesting, or they don't want to look stupid, so they don't show it. But
we look stupid all the time, and we're happy to share that with people.
If we cut out all the mistakes, we'd have nothing left. So we just leave them in.
There's growing appetite for authenticity, isn't there, in this world, and honesty? But you could say long overdue. So God bless you for taking that approach, and because people want to see.
We also just don't like the hype and the drama of so much of the other stuff that's out there. We want to watch it because it's entertaining and we learn something. So we go to channels and go, oh, I've got to turn it off. It's too much. So we wanted to be real people and just, literally the Big Brother on the farm, but a nicer edited version of that.
But not live 24/7.
No. Okay, well, we won't be pitching that idea to a TV company anytime soon. Iris is here. Iris Otobor. Bon dia from London. Can't wait for Boris to just open the door. Yeah. Okay, Jacqueline Mary Brown. Good morning, Donna Jacqueline. Good morning. I am enjoying the adventure spirit already. So yes, I think it's fair to say, isn't it? You two are adventurous souls.
Or crazy.
One or the other, or maybe both.
Yeah.
Together, doesn't it? Goes together. Look at this, 20 degrees in Harrogate yesterday. What's that about?
Wow.
The circle. It's amazing, isn't it? Bon dia, Guy and Kylie. Love Eco and Beyond. Great videos. And this is Paul, if I recall correctly, who I traded a few circus jokes with yesterday. He tells me he makes. He was saying he makes clown shoes, which is no small feat. Apparently,
thank you. That's my kind of joke.
Yes, feel free, guys. Seriously, feel free. You're in safe territory.
I'm on the spot
dad
here.
Jokes.
Yeah, dad jokes. I'm not even a dad, but
something will occur to you, I'm sure, soon. I mean, for example, Mrs. M was a bit worried about me. I was singing like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin in my sleep last night, and she thought I was coming down with the coronavirus. Bon dia. Amigo, they're going to go soon, aren't they? If I keep this up, let's just move. Bon dia, amigo Carl from Adriel. Good morning, Adriel. Oh, he's a wonderful man. I think we mentioned Fundao in our comments earlier on, and he is the man behind Shimajito, the mushroom producers. And is that are you interested in growing mushrooms there on your plot?
We have actually got a little log about this kind of size, which we grow shiitake mushrooms on. We picked it up at a like a farmer's market kind of thing, but like an expat farmer's market near, where was it?
Near Penella.
Near Penella, yeah. And so we got this little log. It's about a foot long, and we grow shiitake mushrooms on it. They're delicious.
I take my hat off to you. So it's actually fruited and producing
many times.
Yeah.
You make it sound so easy. That's fantastic. Well,
we just put it under a bush, and then we went a couple of weeks later, and there was a mushroom because we'd forgotten about it.
Yeah.
That's the best.
People like to make things so complicated, Carl. It's really just just forget about it and then remember eventually.
That's right. I'll be led by your hunger to go look under bushes. Bon dia, you got my attention, warm and sunny in my part of Finland. Good morning to you, Susan. Great to have your company. That's exactly the face I make when someone asks me how my Portuguese is going.
This one.
Yes, that's right. How is your Portuguese going?
It's going slowly.
Yeah.
Just fitting everything in, I think, is the challenge. So I've got all the apps. I've got all of we've even got a grammar book. We've got a grammar book. I've got the YouTube resources. I've got the podcasts. I've got the RTP app. We're big fans of Practice Portuguese, but just finding the time to fit it in is difficult. Yeah. But I actually had a really nice, fairly lengthy, I would say, like a good 5-10 minute conversation with a neighbor recently, and that was it filled me with confidence to be. I mean, it was kind of stilted Portuguese, but I understood her and she understood me, I think, for the most part, and that was really nice.
I, however, went and hid somewhere else because I was like, I'm just going to look embarrassed if I stand there next to you going, what did she say? What did she say?
I just need to go and get some shiitake mushrooms. But bye. Yeah. Okay. Another question from Paul. Wonder how Guy and Kylie have found local suppliers. I think that's probably the reception you've had, as well as geographically where they are, and you'll be needing that with the renovation project. Right? It's a key thing to get your trusted suppliers. Right? How's that gone?
I mean, one thing that's interesting is, so part of the whole kind of eco and beyond thing that we've been doing for many years now is this idea of being able to shop locally and support local businesses, but also eat seasonally. So I'm not sure if they're talking about like food suppliers or if they're talking about like building suppliers, but because of being in the middle of what is, it's fairly remote, we're a bit limited in terms of driving hours and hours and hours to go and see if they've got the right part or the right kind of bricks or the right tiles or whatever. So we've been shopping for everything pretty much in and around Serta.
Or online.
Yeah.
But we have struggled. We definitely have struggled. I was just putting a post in a Facebook group yesterday saying, is there a plumber's merchant in Serta? Because we're about to start doing all the plumbing for our bathroom. And everyone's like, well, there's 2 builders merchants, and they're those kind of places where you go in and then they have a counter. So you can't actually go around and have a look at stuff. And that's the biggest challenge that I find, because the systems here are so different. All I want to see is, okay, what do they have and how does it all work, rather than be able to go and say, I want this, because I don't know what I want until I see what's available. So that's a real struggle. I've had a real struggle getting power tools. I've resorted. So I went to a local online Portuguese business thinking, great, I'll support them. Put in an order last December, and I just got the last tool a couple of weeks ago, last week. It was a large order of a couple of €1,000 worth, but that is how long it took for them to get the stuff in and then send it to us. So we've ended up going mostly now for the rest of our power tools to Amazon Germany. And things arrive in a week or 2, which is much faster.
But yeah, it is a bit of a challenge.
It's a challenge,
but it's nice to be able to support the locals. So there's a fantastic electrical shop nearby. There's some great builders merchants, and then all the food as well. Like there's probably a market every day if you kind of went to different locations. And it's a nice way of practicing the Portuguese as well. And they're all really friendly, which is, I think, probably one of the maybe slightly unexpected things about moving to a foreign country in the middle of nowhere where you don't speak the language, but it's been amazing.
And I was really surprised how much English is spoken. Like
yeah.
we often go in and start speaking in Portuguese. Myself, very bad Portuguese, and they just switch to English, and I'm just like, wow.
They can tell.
Even in the middle of the country, there's a lot of English being spoken, particularly by the younger kind of generation. But yeah, I'm always surprised when people switch to fluent English and they say, "Oh, sorry for my bad English." I'm like, my friend, you heard myself.
Sorry for my Portuguese.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be quite amazing at the other end of the sort of age spectrum as well. You know, you'll be in the middle of nowhere at a builder's yard and you'll be thinking, oh, you know, I need to point at pictures on my phone and stuff like that. And there will be a guy there who says, how can I help you?
Yeah.
They're like, oh. It's like, yeah, I spent, 27 years traveling around the world before I came back to my hometown here. And you meet something like that, won't you? And you think, okay, this guy is my best friend now. This is fantastic. I get everything locally from this guy who speaks perfect English. Absolutely wonderful. And yeah, a little bit challenging on practicing the Portuguese. But there you go, Paul. Local suppliers, that's how Guy and Kylie roll with that. So let's just have a quick look at your website and go back to the sort of the ethic underpinning what you do. Isn't that beautiful? A search for simplicity. So really very much about the eco side, and it seems not eco side, you see what I mean, with an S, not a SC. Sorry. But yes, I mean, that's what motivated you in the first place, right? Is to be living the simpler life, to be.
So we actually started that website a long time ago to write about, and we had a team of writers writing about all the things like food waste and going less plastic and all of that. And then we just realized that in London, in that consumerist society, it was very difficult to go beyond that. Yes, you can switch to a bamboo toothbrush and whatever, but we just thought there's more. And just buying more stuff, replacing one product with an eco product, for us wasn't enough. Doesn't really work, so we wanted to get kind of more connected to our food and more connected to community, and just step back from all of that hustle and bustle of what I'm going to call is the greenwashing eco stuff, and actually live much more slower, simpler, connected, eco-friendly, I say, rather than eco, because I think you have to balance realistic living with also trying to be environmental.
It's really tough because there's so many aspects to it, and even like the most popular eco product, you could probably pick apart somehow on some front. It's a very tricky topic, and so I think our approach to it is we just try to be as balanced as we can. So, we've gone completely off the grid. We're purely powered by solar. We're trying to grow, we're learning to grow our own food. So eventually we can grow as much of it as we can, or as much of it as we want to. And those are two big things. But then, because we now live in the middle of nowhere, we've had to buy a car. Previously, we didn't have a car when we lived in the city. So it's all kind of, pros and cons, swings and roundabouts.
And I like to say we look at it holistically. We try to look at the whole situation. It's not just one thing in isolation. So there was a comment, we just recently smashed down a cement wall that's in our house, and there was a concrete about, well, that's not very eco, you should have just kept it. And it's like, well, you don't know the holistic picture here, which is all of that concrete that we knocked down will actually keep that as hardcore, and there's other reasons.
We'll use it for foundations on an outbuilding or
and
something.
It's still that kind of tunnel vision of like, oh, that's wrong, or like there's this black or white, and it's like, well, hold on, there's this whole spectrum of other things that go with every single decision that you make. And it's fascinating when you start digging apart a single decision, how many criteria or elements go into that.
Yes, well said. Because I struggle with that sort of eco green fundamentalism, because we know we're destructive, don't we? I mean, we are essentially a destructive species, and we have our footprint, and we could do better. So I guess it's a matter of finding the balance, isn't it? And as you say, looking at it holistically, and that must be very, very hurtful when people are sort of quite insensitive in their, no, don't touch the concrete wall. That's like going back to eco side, crimes against the environment, knocking down a concrete wall. I mean, you're bearing your souls, showing this holistic picture of how we might live in a more balanced way, and then you get perhaps comments like that. Well, I might be making too much of it, but
block and delete, my friend. That's my favorite new button. Block and delete.
Okay, fair enough. Good for you. I think
it's really bad for your mental health otherwise. I remove anything that is not very constructive and or is negative, that is just not useful to my feet.
Yes, Kylie. Yes.
it's our channel. We're there to inspire the people who want to do better, not to give a platform to people who want to be negative. So I just remove any of that stuff.
But what we tend to find, because we do kind of clean the feed a little bit, and we don't have to do too much, which is nice, because there isn't much negativity. We don't attract that much of it anymore, which is great. It's like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. And sometimes they may just be trying to be funny, but it just doesn't necessarily come across that way. So, as much as, there are sometimes, people who say insensitive things or sometimes just outright rude things. They're very, very much the minority, which is good.
And that's excellent. I'm so glad to hear that, and I love your response and position on that as well. I mean, you absolutely have to do that, because it's a logical conclusion of the negativity. And I understand this. And maybe you experienced this yourselves in the earlier days of your eco blog, as it were, and that approach is that it can be a downward spiral, can't it? You find that there is that perfect situation here, and I'm just making myself miserable. And I think it's really important that us humans, faults that as we have, I mean, no question about that. We are a funny bunch. There is no question. But it's not good when we start to hate on ourselves either, is it? What's the point of that? We can't be a self-hating species, because that's going to go nowhere.
Yeah. And social media has become such a platform, and I don't know if it's because of the current times, but in my book, it's like, if you don't have something nice to say, just scroll, just move on. And so I'm just helping them to move on.
That might be the second mention of the Sound of Music vibe this morning. That sounds a lot like what Julie Andrews might have said in The Sound of Music, doesn't it? Or was it Bambi? It was Bambi's mother who said that, wasn't it? Or no, Thumper's mum. If you can't think of anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Very good.
Exactly.
We will be taking that. We might turn that into a meme this morning from this morning's show. Fantastic. All the best from Warsaw, Poland this morning as well. Diogo, bon dia. Good morning from England. All the best. Carry on with the good job. Seeing you two from day one. All the best. Wow. So that's great, isn't it? No joke that with the weather yesterday and today, high teens and sunburn. Had to put the cream on this morning. You're like a human scone. Cream first or jam first? Sitting in the sun with a coffee. Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that in sunny Hertfordshire this morning. Guy and Kylie from Carlos Victor. How's your bread making tasting?
So Carlos gave us a tip about a Portuguese flour company. Because I was having real problems with my sourdough, and my starter wasn't bubbling properly. And Carlos, great tip, because the bread turned out amazing. Good. I used a rye flour to revigorate my starter, bubbled wonderfully, and then the bread turned out really lovely. There's actually a photo on our Instagram. So, but thank you very much. That was a great tip.
The only challenge we have with bread making at the moment is because we don't have a proper setup. We're living in a tent, and we have a shed which has got some kitchen equipment in it. So we've actually been baking on the barbecue. It's quite a large barbecue with a number of burners, so we just turn on the outside burners, and it kind of heats up like an oven inside.
It's a new dimension to bread making, I have to say.
It's tricky to control the temperatures, but it is the bread tastes great. Really, really good.
I am feeling a sort of Portuguese Australian hybrid there, with the barbie cooking and the bread inside. That is a fantastic outcome. I think.
In one of our outbuildings, we've got the main house, which you can probably just see behind. But we've got a collection of outbuildings which has an old bread oven, like a wood-fired oven in there. Yes, but it's not really safe to spend much time in that.
The roof is collapsing on that building, but we will restore it.
Yeah, and then we'll make bread in the bread oven.
Yeah, and pizza.
Excellent. So you currently get smoked bread in there, do you?
We haven't actually tried it, but
we haven't even tried opening it to see if it might. I mean, the ceiling, the roof is actually like
caved in.
So we're like,
that's on the to-do list. Okay, fair enough. Which is quite long, isn't it? Your to-do list.
It is quite long.
Bon dia from TP Larson in California. Bon dia alegria todos, and Ludwig Dingledine. Your name never ceases to amaze me. I love saying your name.
That's a great name.
It's great, isn't it? Good morning from Ludwig this morning. So I haven't seen you guys before. I told you you'd have a question, didn't I, the doc? Do you intend to go off-grid? They are. And if so, what, apart from solar power, perhaps, will that mean for you? So, yes, the obvious challenge of bread so far we've heard about. So this is a really fascinating thing for people. Tell us more about your off-grid intentions and how it's going with the solar business.
So when we bought the house, it was power connected, and our intent was always to go solar, because there is a lot of sun.
Not right now.
And I think for me personally, I don't like being beholden to energy companies. I think that they do really bad business. They support fossil fuels too much. There's no incentive for them to actually go much more green because they make a lot of money out of fossil fuels. So it's more than just the energy. I just don't want to be beholden to those big companies. And so when we got here, we just let them disconnect the power when the owner switched off their account. And so we've put in solar, and the solar that we've put in is connected to our kitchen shed, but that will eventually get redeployed to the main house, and we'll probably scale it up a little bit. We are connected to mains water, and I believe, as per my reading of the law here, you have to be if you're within 20 meters of a water point, and that's fine. Happily to do that. And we're on 4G mobile. So again, not connected to the grid per se. It's still using the internet. We're not in that way like those people who want to be completely disconnected, just want to rely on our own power source rather than an energy company and move away from the fossil fuels. And eventually we will also get rid of our Mini, which is diesel operated, and go electric. And I would actually really like to we have a pickup, and I would really like to do a project to see if we can convert it ourselves to be either a hybrid or completely electric, so that we can also
run off veg oil or something like that.
Yeah, or
nice
biodiesel.
Something else for the to-do list.
Yeah.
Amazing. A car that smells like donuts or chips is going along.
Like chips, yeah. I mean, then I'll just love driving around in that. And then from a heating perspective, we're going to go with a heat pump and solar hot water as well. So that I think is pretty much the full range. We don't have a stream, so we can't really do hydro. We do have a well, so we'll use that for irrigation.
We might put up a windmill.
We might do a wind turbine just for fun. You know, when we run out of content ideas, we'll get a wind turbine.
I love it. You're thinking of just for fun ideas already.
Yeah.
This is the kind
I mean, the list is long, Carl. We have everything on the list. Biodiesel, biogas, grey water harvesting, rainwater harvesting. I want to make my own crops so that we can make our own oils and veg oil to feed the car. I mean, everything is on the list. It's just how many years have I got left in life to get them all done?
But then but you know, what else are you going to do with your time?
Exactly.
I mean, isn't this a great endeavor to be involved with on a daily basis? So I take my hat off to you, as many people do. How has it been living on site? This is about your commute to work, I think. Have you found you have the same comfort you had living in your house as you do in the tent? And I think we know the answer to that. And being able to just walk over to your house and continue with work. So how is the work-life divide?
It's excellent.
It really is, yeah.
It's the best living on-site situation we've ever had.
Yeah.
So in all of the other renovation projects, we always have lived on site. And that has meant moving from room to room in a dust environment with boxes and furniture. So this is really lovely. We can shut the house and the dust, and then we walk over here and it's clean and it's tidy, and we have a proper bed and we can cook.
There are a couple of downsides to it,
yes,
which maybe we'll get to in a minute. But in many ways, this tent that we live in, obviously you can't see it at the moment, but we've got videos about it on our YouTube channel.
And it's a large tent. It's not
very
like a camping tent. It's a big festival tent.
But this tent has been more comfortable, drier, and warmer than the rental apartment that we had stayed in previously, because that was just a concrete building which had the classic damp and mold issues that you often get in Portugal.
And no insulation.
And no insulation. And so we have no insulation here either, because it's just a tent. But yeah, it's been really, really comfortable. I think the major downside has been the lack of hot running water. And the kind of this everything being kind of mobile and not having like a dedicated bathroom or a dedicated
kitchen
space for
cupboards.
everything. Kitchen cupboards, like everything's in plastic,
no wardrobe,
sturdy plastic boxes. So but we're very adaptable, so it's actually been fine.
Amazing. There you go, Raphael. Thank you for answering that one. And yes, a short commute to work for you. Out of
Very
the
much
10.
so, yeah.
That is much better. So it used to be a 30-minute drive and we would have to kind of get organized before we left the rental and come here. Now we can just get up and one of us can get up and the other one can stay in bed if they want. So it's much more flexible like that. And we can have a beer before we get changed out of our building clothes, which before we had to finish up, go back, and then have the beer. So,
it's much more convenient from that perspective.
Oh, that's a special moment, isn't it? The beer at the end of the working day.
Definitely earn it.
Oof.
Have you had any fireflies yet this year?
I haven't seen fireflies. No.
I
get all the other flying things, but
yes, you should get that as well, shouldn't you? I mean, if you can have mosquitoes, you should have the occasional firefly. I think that's how the divine order.
Nice balance. No, not seen any yet.
I was followed home by one I took the dog up to the bins, as you do, late last night, and followed home by a little firefly. It was absolutely beautiful. So, Wayne, how long do you think the total renovation will take until really? Do you see how he adds really finished? And maybe there's no such thing as really finished. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great. Just remember, measure twice, cut once. Good advice from a Navy man there.
Some good advice. Yes. So there is a phrase that I heard many years ago about every type of creative project or creative endeavor, which is projects are never finished. They are just abandoned at various stages of completion. And so this project will never be finished.
Because I'll just keep up making up things to do.
We'll just move on to the next idea, the next thing. We don't plan to leave here, but there will always be land management. There'll always be new things to experiment with in the garden. There'll always be.
I think Wayne's asking about the house, like the renovation side.
Sure.
Our guess is somewhere up to 5 years.
Yeah, 2 to 5 years.
Okay. You're measuring twice there.
We did start with 2 to 3 years. And I think it's more likely to be at the 5-year mark. We weren't originally going to do the roof ourselves, and now we're thinking to do the roof ourselves. And I think that's a big project.
Yes.
Well, that's not something you want to take too many months because you get rained on.
Well, that's just the roof part. And you've got all the inside. Yeah, many years.
And notwithstanding what you said, it's ongoing. It's a labour of love. And it will never. Yeah. So away with your really finished, Wayne. We're not talking about really finished here. We're talking about ongoing here. Ian, are you planning to grow under glass or in polytunnels?
Yeah, I think so. So for over the winter, I kept saying, this weekend I'm going to build a cold frame so I can get my seeds started. Just so that there's somewhere warm and sheltered for them, but I've still not gotten around to that. And now the weather's good enough that I probably don't need one. But I think
we'll add a polytunnel.
We're definitely going to add something like that.
I just got to work out how to build one.
Probably with more with shade cloth than with anything else, because it does get warm here, and we don't want things to fry. In fact, I've got some.
Or with a removable cover.
Yeah, or with a removable cover. I've got some herbs on the deck, and they're kind of in partial shade. And interestingly, the ones that are in less shade have been a bit sun scorched, whereas the ones that are in the shade are doing really, really well. So yeah, I think definitely growing under cover with some shade as well.
Hearing that every day is a school day on the homestead there, absolutely. And actually, this little bit of advice goes with that. Garden like you'll live forever. That is a lovely sentiment.
Exactly.
That's a lovely bit of advice.
That is beautiful, isn't it? Morning, guys. Watched Eco and Beyond from the start. They liked your first album. Great channel. Julie from Newquay in Cornwall. Mark Rigby, loving the bad puns, Cole. My sense of humour. I'm afraid it's the sense of humour of far too many people. Feel free, Mark. Love his honesty. We are new here and have found OK Portugal, guys, and Good Morning Portugal. We are sold, says Iris October, on our way as soon as we can get out. Please mention your guest channel so we can follow them too. So yes, that is, I've put that in the comments and I will do so again. ecoandbeyond.co is what you need to be looking for the lovely website that they have. Search for Simplicity, as you can see there, read the story, watch the videos, and find out more in a very authentic and honest way. Lovely videos here as well. So the off-grid that was mentioned before, and the solar setup, and the camp kitchen. Always good to have a camp kitchen, isn't it? Okay, let's go back to the questions. Loving the honesty. Yes, 10-minute conversation and you managed to say hello and goodbye. I'm not sure what Stephen. Sometimes we have to try and match the answer with the question.
I think you may be talking about the Portuguese conversation.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes, of course, Stephen. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
I think I actually forgot to say goodbye, but
that's nice to leave it open-ended. It leaves space for your intermediate conversation that you'll be having soon. Sorry, I missed the beginning. Hi, Guy and Kylie. Do you have a well or good drinking water on your plot? So you said you were connected to the water mainframe.
Yeah, we have mains water, but we also do have a well. Unfortunately, so this whole property was, no one lived here for like 20 plus years, so everything has been completely derelict and kind of overgrown, and that includes the well. So it's had an apple tree growing over it, which you tied it up, but it's got stuff growing everywhere. So
I think half of it's collapsed.
Yeah, we need to get someone in to clear it for us, and then we'll test the water. But we'll probably use that for irrigation rather than for drinking.
There's a well, and there's two concrete tanks next to it, and there used to be a pump from the well to the tanks. And we'll eventually get around to cleaning those up and reinstating them for irrigation and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan, for that question. Thanks, Guy and Kylie, for answering that. Hi from Chile. Do you have pets? So how is it going on the husbandry side?
So we have domestic pets. We have 2 cats. And there's a third one that visits from time to time. It's the neighbour's cat who likes to spend time here.
We will be getting
chickens, we will be getting some animals.
And then either goats, sheep or pigs, or maybe all of them. We'll see.
My money's on the last option there. Having assessed the cut of your jib this morning, I'm thinking, look, oh dear, the sheep and the goats and the pigs have all arrived at once. Okay, well, we're just...
I need some more land. I want some forestry, and then I can take my pigs for a walk and get them to do the ground. And
that's going to cut a dash in the local village when you go out for coffee with your pig. Look, people are giving you recommendations as well. Plumbers Merchants, your best bet is Sofragens in Castelo Branco. There you go. From Leroy. I'm guessing you've been to Leroy's once or twice. Never. No, are you staying away from Leroy's as part of your...
We have ordered from Leroy's, and we've been disappointed on a couple of occasions, so we've had them deliver. I try to avoid all the big chain stores. I'm very anti, and especially because it's not a Portuguese company. I research heavily all the big chains, and I'm not a fan. I would much prefer to visit the local guys here and support them if we can. And I'll go out of my way to do that because it's a big part of our ethics is local.
And especially now, right? Especially now, whilst little shops are closing, I see a local continent is growing, building work. All these fat cat sort of supermarkets and chains. This is not a problem for them, is it? This recession, they're going to just sit back, let everyone go out of circulation, the small people, and then just come back. They're going to build back better, to use that dreaded phrase. They're literally doing that at the moment. So I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying there. That yes, support the little guys if you can. So Wayne Barker, whilst some people are lobbying for an Amazon.pt, I suspect Guy and Kylie are not doing that. And
Amazon's
as well as
convenient, it is very convenient, and but that's the blessing and the curse. So we have a love-hate relationship with that. But if we boycotted Amazon, which I don't think we're going to do, we would really struggle to get a lot of things.
Yeah. You just can't find a lot of things. Or even we went to get some strimmer blades for our strimmer, and the guy at the local place had to order them in. He said, yeah, we'll call you when they're in. Still haven't heard back. And it's just can't wait for a month to get strimmer blades.
That's true. Yeah, it can change, can't it, in the springtime? Okay, fair enough. Maybe he's thinking it's for next year's season.
Maybe, yeah.
Aligning yourselves with the universe, is that part of your plan?
I think the universe aligns us more than anything else. It tells us what it wants us to do.
It definitely tells us when we need to take a day off.
I mean, we do get signs from the universe, not in the hippy dippy kind of way, but we listen to the environment. And
I think we always just try to, you can call it universe, you can call it intuition, you can call it whatever kind of speaks to you, but I think we try to be more
open,
kind of open, and just like going by feel a lot. And so I think sometimes you know, when you're all go, and, you know, oh, I've got to get up and have my coffee and get to work and, you know, sit on the tube for an hour and all that kind of stuff that we used to do. There's no time for listening and sitting in silence and just kind of appreciating the birds making noise or whatever. But out here, there's nothing else to do. So it's a lot easier to kind of just go by feel.
You've come face to face with your intuition. I'm going to give you a great big Om Shanti and Namaste for saying that. Whether it's hippy dippy or not, I mean,
is that Portuguese?
Yeah, that is as much as I can manage in my spiritual Portuguese there. But seriously, I mean, we are in danger, and this I think goes hand in hand with perhaps what you were writing about previously. Before, you know, more the eco than the beyond, because this is the beyond as far as I'm concerned, and what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Right? But how we've rationalised ourselves into. Well, we're close to oblivion, really. You know, with that mentality, with the rational thought processes that get the cities and the civilizations built. Yes, they have brought many good things, but then they've brought other things which you are now you're getting a bit of a relief from that by the sound of it. Would you agree?
Yeah. We're just trying to slow down a bit, trying to be more in touch with ourselves, the world, and obviously nature out here. But also, wonderful. I think there's a degree of honesty that comes from stepping away from the cities as well. Like, you've got to be honest to yourself. Then what do you want out of life? And it's not the career, and it's not the money. It's like, what makes you happy, you know? And I think we realized being out in the middle of nowhere with no people around is really what makes us happy. And doing the simple things. I mean, we love renovating. The number of people who say to us, wouldn't it just be easier to buy some land and put a house? It's like, not for us. For us. I mean, I love getting my hands dirty as much as my muscles don't. I just love it.
Yes, good, clean, honest fun. I mean, I just can't imagine you two like looking in the property pages and thinking, oh, there's a nice, completely built T3 apartment in Coimbra. We'll just move in there. And like within an hour, you're sat on your, you know, beautifully appointed T3 sofa, like something from a property magazine. It's like, oh my God, what do we do now? What do we do now? I mean, you know, life is living, isn't it? Rather than those sort of strange goals that we have in our current culture that is being questioned as we speak. Keep it clean. Don't feed the trolls from Stephen as well. That goes back, doesn't it, earlier into the conversation? And your block and delete, guys. Morning from Pedrago Paquino. Nice market there on a Sunday, right? You've been to that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really lovely.
Small but perfectly formed.
And really good cheese. There's a certain cheese we found.
Good review of that one. Small but perfectly formed and excellent cheese. At Suffragenes, we asked the price of one toilet and got a price. Then for 2 toilets and the price reduced. So we then asked for the price of 3 toilets and ended up buying 4 toilets at a great price. No, you didn't need any of them, but it was such a great
such a good deal. I couldn't say no.
Went home feeling great with your 4 toilets. You never know when they're going to come in handy, right? Put one in the camper van. The comments are just as useful for us, so it's great that you do that. So we have to see. So we don't have to see either. Okay, yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. Okay, so keep going with that. Lots of lovely questions coming. You guys all right for time for a minute?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Probably a bit more than a minute, to be fair, there, because the question this is what happens. You know, like, it gets to about 20 to 10, and people think, I think I'll ask me a question now. Do you have any ideas as to when the borders are open with Spain? I'm not sure if
Hold
that's
on a second. Let me see if I can.
She's tuning in, everyone.
I just this is not a crystal ball; it's a microphone.
No idea.
Denise, to be serious for a moment, but nice try, guys. The intuitive crystal microphone didn't come up with an answer there. However, we did experience another level of deconfinement yesterday. 1st of May is the next one, and I think borders are usually late in the processes because it relies on 2 countries talking, and we know we have enough trouble with one country talking to itself. when 2 countries are gathered together in the name of pandemic, you know, it just takes longer. So I'm sorry, Denise, we can't help you there. How far are your closest neighbours? Great question. And do you ever get lonely out in the sticks? It's getting personal now. You made bread in the outside oven. Can't wait to try this. We'll be following your channel.
So we definitely don't get lonely.
Right.
No, we love our own company and each other's company. We've been together, what was it, 12 years now?
Yeah,
almost 12 years.
Before we left London, we were living together, obviously, but also working together. So we've done this for years where it's just been the 2 of us. and we have 2 cats. You know, what else do you need?
Exactly.
So no, don't get lonely.
Closest neighbours probably, well, our piece of land is 3,000 square meters, and the house is at one end of that. So it's probably like if you went from the boundary to the nearest neighbour, probably like 20 meters. But if you went from our house or our tent, depending on which time of the project you talk to us, is probably 100 meters between where we're going to be staying, 1 to 200 meters.
Close enough to be able to wave and yell hello, but not be able to have a conversation.
Perfect.
whereas so the deck that we built where we're living in the tent is 9 meters across in diameter, and our back garden in Tooting in southwest London was 6 meters wide.
Yes.
So the deck that we have built temporarily to live on whilst we renovate the house in the background is larger, almost 50% bigger than the space that the postage stamp back garden that we used to have. In fact, that back garden was 25 square meters, and this deck is 65 square meters.
Incredible.
Kind of give you a bit of context.
You must have been like spring lambs when you first got out on that, running around, skipping and jumping around. So this is yeah, of course. Of course, when I get the energy up, I'll have a skip and a jump. What are you going to do when the days with no sun is often a question, isn't it, for the off-grid solar lifestyle? Battery power?
We have batteries.
So we have batteries, yeah. So at the moment we've got a 2.4 kilowatt solar panel array. We've got 9.6 kilowatt hours of battery storage, and so far we've never gone below 50% of charge in the batteries.
Cool.
And these are lithium ion batteries, so they can actually go all the way down, whereas some battery systems you have to stay at around about the 50% mark, otherwise you damage the batteries.
Caveat that we're saying that in our current tent setup, we don't have that many appliances. So we're not using a lot of energy. The thing that we have that's the most would be the kettle, the toaster, and our microwave, which doubles as a convection oven, which we might use for half an hour or something. So we don't have a lot of things. But when we go to the house, we sized this and all the components so that we can actually scale up both the array and the batteries we were running on a 10 kilowatt day in London, so we can scale this to cope for the same kind of situation. And in the off chance that we have 2 or 3 or 4 grey days in a row, we will get a generator for those very seldom. We're not going to create a massive battery array so that we can last a week if it's only going to be, and this is what we're kind of collecting the data for now, so that by the time we get to the house, we'll know how much further we need to scale it up.
Very wise. I mean, that's like a permaculture principle there, isn't it? Like observe. In your
there's a lot of that going on.
Fantastic. So if one of you is having a rest, well, what are you doing? I'm observing. You mind?
I'm going to use that excuse.
Take that one. Okay, connected to that then, I have a question. How will you keep the electric car charged in a green way? I'm sure you've thought about that.
Well, at the moment, we have too much solar production, even with this relatively small system. So overnight, the batteries will typically go down to around about 70%, but then they'll charge up to 100% within 2 hours. And so then for most of the day, we're not producing any solar because the batteries are full. And so what we're looking for at some stage is to essentially be able to dump all that solar that's coming in to something like an electric car or something else. I mean, a lot of people do it with a pool heater. We don't have a pool at the moment, and the pool that we're planning to put in will be an organic pool which won't be heated, so like a natural swimming pool with reeds and plants and stuff to filter the water rather than chemicals and stuff. So that's how we would charge the car, is again with the solar. But we don't drive that much now that we're here, so it wouldn't, as long as it's not the case. I need to do some research, like when a car is charged up, does it slowly discharge over time to the point where it's not practical to just have it kind of sitting there ready to go. But yeah, to be able to charge it with solar is the plan.
There you
I'm
go.
actually on the lookout for a kind of a ride-on electric utility mower cart thing that we can kind of start using our excess solar to dump it into, so that we can also mow our grass, because we have a lot of land, and it's a strimmer is not suitable.
If Tesla started making a tractor, that would be amazing.
It's in the pipeline, isn't it? I mean, what's he called? Is it Elon Musk? He must be at the stage in his life where he's thinking, this is all very well, all this money. I think I'm going to go back to the land. And then watch out for his range of back to the land products, right, when he has his conversion. So that's in the pipeline. And if you're going to find that anywhere, it's going to be Portugal. I'm sure I saw a guy on the A1 with something that looked like that with his wife in the front bucket the other day. I went past him 120. So, yeah, you'll be able to find that. No problem at all. This is another personal question. You don't have to answer it, but the question is from Paul and Louise to Guy and Kylie. What is your total budget for the renovation and timescale for getting into the house, at least?
The budget is whatever it takes.
Okay. Yeah, whatever it takes. So we did an episode, I think it's episode 9 on the YouTube channel, which was like the total cost of buying and a lot of the fees and the legal stuff. And we mentioned the renovation budget at the end of that. And we've earmarked about 100,000 euros for it, but it might be less, it might be more.
And we can just make some more money. Like Guy will go to work and make some more money.
Still work.
I don't work.
That's a great arrangement, isn't it? Guy, we're running out of money. Go on. Yes, off we go. Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, that's how it works.
But that's one of the reasons for DIYing as well. I mean, we love it, but it means that it does take a long time, which means that you can go and earn a chunk, and then it takes you 6 months to burn through that, because the pace at which you can DIY is quite slow.
It's much slower, yeah.
So, yeah. And we sold our London flat and had some equity in there, which allowed us to buy this and gave us another chunk of cash. So we will slowly move through burning that up, but we haven't spent that much already.
Yes,
not literally burning it. That would be irresponsible.
But wouldn't it be amazing if you could generate energy from spending money? Because that would solve a lot of problems.
Some people then would just have way too much energy.
True. Well said. Okay. And the time scale for getting into the big house, is that decided?
So we're planning to be able to be in there over the winter, but of course not with it finished. But just so that we don't have to be in the tent when it's freezing cold, literally freezing cold, and with lots more rain and wind and stuff like that. So we're hoping to be inside undercover, but knowing that it won't be finished. So
probably I would say 3 to 4 years before it's fully to a point where we can move in and it's like decorated.
Fair play. Okay. All right. Umberto is here. Heat pump and solar is the best for water heating. If the pump has an extra coil, you can also add pellets or money, fireplace, and heat the house in the winter. Cash burning. We've got to look into that. Bon dia, Toros. How's it going with the No Dig Garden project from Johnny in Belgium this morning?
Yeah, the garden is going well. We've had a couple of beds. I think about 10 square meters of planted area since November, and we more than doubled that recently. The issue that I have is being prepared and working out my timings. So we now have space to put in more food, but it's only growing slowly in the little seed trays. So
because you didn't build a cold frame.
Because I didn't build a cold frame because I was busy doing other things.
Hold on. I think we're talking about no dig gardening. I think I heard a dig there.
Oh, very good.
Did I?
Good. This guy, good.
He's had more coffee than us.
Yeah. He's had more practice at this live environment. So, but yeah, it's going really well. We're definitely going to have to keep it watered because it is.
Now we're going to the heat. It's getting a bit drier. But we have lettuce that are going crazy that we planted last October, and we've been eating lettuce since then.
It's amazing.
It's just fabulous.
Yeah.
We've
got all sorts in there. We've got leeks, we've got garlic, we've got onions and spring onions, we've got cabbage, we've had broccoli, we've got bok choy, we've got carrots.
Check you out.
Growing beans, purple sprouting broccoli, watercress, butternut squash.
Just showing off now.
Many things, but they aren't in the ground yet.
thing. Okay, the simple answer to Johnny's question is really well, thanks.
Yeah, it's going really well. Yeah.
We're learning a lot. This is
Yeah.
our first time really to do no dig outdoor stuff, so it's
and at some
and at
bigger
some scale.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's good.
Sounds wonderful. Because we've got a competition going on. We have a gardening Q&A on a Monday, and head gardener Lee McGrady, he's very old-fashioned. He's from up north in England, and he's got, if you don't break your back gardening, it's not really gardening. He doesn't really talk like that, but you get the gist of what he's like compared to Fiona, who's like no dig all the way, and they're going head to head with that at the moment. Bom dia diretamente de Óbidos. So live and direct is Paulo this morning from Óbidos, wonderful Óbidos. A hot running water tip: keep a length of black tube, not a black tuber. I don't think. I mean, that would be a black tuber in the garden for hot water. That paints quite a picture, but I think that's black tube in the sun, no cost, hot water. I fancy making one of those. Do you have that?
Yeah, we've got a 50-meter garden hose which goes from our outdoor tap up to where we're staying. At the end of the day,
it is black,
and it is black. It's a black hose rather than a black tuber. And it is, it warms up really nicely. So we do have some nice warm water at the end of the day for a bit of a wash,
splash,
which is good.
Yes.
Oh, superb. That's so sort of like basic eco, isn't it? And so satisfying at the same time. Really, really good. Batteries, not very eco, but you know that if you have wind or hydro alternatives. Yes. Do you have wind? You don't have to answer that. Mrs. T has used eco for her cooking. She says everything twice in the kitchen. I don't know. Tip for recycling: put your food waste on your rhubarb. Bath with a friend, which I suspect you might.
Well, we don't even have a bath.
We share a bucket.
We share a bucket.
How romantic. That's beautiful. Try and minimize batteries while understanding some are necessary.
So my hope with the batteries is that by the time our batteries come to end of life, that there is some more technology that will take those and recycle the components. Because at the moment, that's the big problem with batteries, is that the components, number one, are probably slave mined. But then secondly, there's no good recycling for them. But at some point in the future, that will has to happen, because we're going to run out of these resources. So there will hopefully. So that's the hope. I've done a lot of research on that, and I'm hoping that that's where it's headed.
I knew you would have. Yes, absolutely. Great answer. So we have always more comments than we can cope with towards the end of the show, which is where we're getting now. So what I'll do is I will go through all the comments, and then you can cherry pick the ones you want to answer. And people can find you. I've also put your YouTube channel. So people, subscribe here. That will be youtube.com. And there's a little C for channel, I think. But really, you're looking for Eco and Beyond on YouTube. So do hit the subscribe button on their channel over there. And you'll be getting quite an education, I'm sure, as a subscriber there. Why are you laughing, Kylie? That's true, isn't it?
The mistakes not to make. That's what they learn.
We don't do how-to content. We do how not to content.
Perfect. So
one of those fails, though, we were just talking about the no-dig gardening. One of the fails that we recently learned is our compost that we just put onto our new beds was not hot enough. So there's lots of grass seed in there. Now we have all our grass coming up in our no-dig beds.
Not ideal.
That we're slowly picking out, but that's a mistake that we will do better with our compost next time.
Kind of literally a plot twist in a way. So you can, we're having the lawn there now. We're having the lawn. Circus School. We are moving to our small farm near Panicover and have some renovating to get done before we arrive. Do you know how to find local tradesmen? Get on our forum for that. Expatsportugal.com. Go to the forum and you will be able to find some local wisdom on how to get that work done, given that you can't do that from the UK yourself, Paul, at the moment from the Circus School. Local planning and information is a nightmare. Where do you go for information, and how supportive is your local camera? Come back to that, shall we? Hi, neighbours. Hi from Lisboa, from Catalan. Watching every week, and about internet service providers. Oh, we can't open that can of worms at this time. It is enough when you're
4G and it works. So
4G, Vodafone, fine.
And that's what you're talking through now, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
Perfect. Want to do something similar, but need the internet for work and have some doubts. So there you go. A 4G connection as good as Guy and Kylie's there.
You have to upgrade your router, though. The one that they provide is not very good.
You nearly said something else there. Well,
I did nearly
that
say
was a
something.
good
It was a
catch.
sugar. It's sugar.
yes, it's a pile of sugar. Okay, Mrs. M is here now, and this means more work for me, I suspect. Inspiration from you translates as work for me, I suspect, in this situation. Stop watching, Mrs. M, immediately. Mark Rigby, there's now a dedicated Portugal section on the Amazon.es site, should you need it. And look at this. The toilets were white, not pink or avocado.
What's wrong with you? Pink toilets are lovely.
They should pay more for those.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have the ice cream Neapolitan set, shouldn't they? Really, a pink one, a red one, the chocolate flavour, vanilla and strawberry. It's very sweet how you both drink from your bottles at the same time. It's like a dance.
That was accidental, not planned.
You say that, but you're so in tune, obviously, with each other. Jonesy, is there lots of wildlife there? Anything that might be considered a safety issue? Actually, if you could, I mean, it's so noisy where you are. If you could ask the birds and the cockerel to be a bit.
Sorry.
We've got lots of birds. We haven't seen much else, to be honest.
We're very lucky. We have a stone wall that surrounds our property, so no boar or anything can get in. Fingers crossed.
Apparently they can.
Apparently they can jump, but we've not seen anything.
Leave food on the other side. Yes.
Yep. Owls. We have a lot of owls.
Yeah, we hear lots of owls at night.
Woodpeckers.
Lots of birds.
Yeah.
Okay, so plenty of wildlife, and you can hear it in the background. It's beautiful. Get a car with bi-directional flow of energy is the answer to it.
I don't know what that is. I will now have to go and research that.
We'll have to look that up on DuckDuckGo, not Google. Friendships with neighbours, plant trees.
Acacia.
Acacia, that's the one, isn't it? Okay.
That's the one.
Okay, search on Acacia for that later. Friendships with neighbours in Portugal, very important for locals. As it is for foreigners, mostly in the countryside for safety, etc. And you get lovely gifts grown organically. I'm sure that
all our neighbours came to introduce themselves to us as soon as we moved in here, and they saw that we were renovating this place because it had been left abandoned for so long. And they are so lovely, so lovely. I couldn't understand a word that they were saying, but I know that they were happy to have us here because I could just tell they were really lovely.
You can just see the smiles.
Yeah.
And I think they appreciate having younger people come in to come and look after what has been here before, which is I think is really nice.
It's surprising all the youngsters leaving the interior, as we've heard many times.
Yes.
And so the villagers here are really happy to see someone that's going to, I guess, keep up looking after the land past when they're gone. It's really interesting.
And you're accepted when you open your tent and there's a bag of oranges in there.
We don't need more oranges.
No, we've been trying to give ours away, and
yes, it becomes have some oranges. No. Hello from Poland.
Huge bag.
Good morning. Barbara there. Our journey on Pico Island. Carlos and Laura. Hi guys. Simplicity is the healthy, balanced way to go. We are keeping it simple as well here on Pico Island, Azores. Love following your channel. Stay well. Saúde, Carlos and Laura. For one set of YouTubers to another. A lot of love between the YouTubers this morning. Good day, Guy and Kylie. Love your YouTube channel and what you stand for. Keep up the good work. Marius from Melbourne, Australia. And that is Knackers McGee. That sounds
funny. That's what everyone calls my brother, Knackers. So I don't know why. So his first name is Robbie, which is with an R, but he gets called that as a school joke, Knackers.
We probably don't want to know why he's called Knackers.
No.
People are trying to eat their breakfast. Hi from New Zealand, from Denise. Have been watching you since you started. That sounds menacing. She doesn't mean it like that. Great show. Thanks for coming on this morning from Louise. Great vision. Good luck. Are you open to receiving visitors? Nope. Good morning. Sorry, go on. You answer that.
No, you answered it. It's all right.
Yep, you did well.
Okay, good morning from a fan of the two channels, Portuguese Braga, living in Marseille. Keep up the good work. I mean, sorry, a doc to be. I mean, I know the doc, so he will see the funny side of that. But you could end up living in a goldfish bowl, couldn't you, and having visitors all the time. So I'm sure you have to find a handsome way of dealing with that.
Yeah, and we've been trying to keep our location discreet because of that, and. There is the OK Portugal guys. I know that they've had people just turn up at their gate, and that's kind of weird because everyone who watches us thinks that they know us, and
Yeah.
we don't know anyone, and we don't know who they are from a bar of soap or what they're like. And
But we've had a couple of not situations, because that sounds ominous, but there's been a couple of times where people have been like, "Oh, we've seen you on YouTube." We're like, okay. It's very, very weird.
Yeah, like the introvert nature is we just want to do our thing over here, and
And then show 30,000 people every week.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm sorry, you are the posh and becks of the Portuguese, central Portuguese eco living. So you'll have to come up with your own brand of underwear and everything eventually. So just get used to it. Is my advice to you. Where in Oz is Kylie from? I'm from the Gong.
From the Wollongong. So I'm originally born in Melbourne, but mostly from Brisbane. That's where my mother lives. So I was in Brizzy from 10, and then I left when I was 23. Okay. So I've lived half my life there and half my life in the rest of the world.
Very global. Excellent. I understand that we have compost enough is a problem. Look at the system with chickens. By Jeff
chickens are on the list, high up the list.
And Jeff Lawton, also an Aussie, right? Or is he British? I'm not sure, but what an amazing guy.
He's awesome.
It's his granddaddy, isn't it? The guy who the videos from that amazing Australian permaculturist whose name escapes me now. Forgive me, but his lectures are superb with all his little anecdotes in there. Is it Bill Mollison? Possibly, I'm not sure.
Lawson, it's Lawson as well.
Is it Lawson?
Is it? Okay, but it's
I have so many books on different permaculturists and regenerative agriculture farmers and
forest gardening. Yes, the usual suspects, but they're all fantastic. Yeah. You can't go wrong. Yes. When we move, we're going to try the one with chickens, and I think Guy and Kylie will be trying the chicken thing soon as well. I'm from Perth, Australia, but now living in Portugal. From Mary Jo Deakin. Barbara smiling at us. Good morning. Let T speak from Texas. Just half awake there. Sure, I get it. He's not upset. Maybe just a little bit. Sadly, we have not brought the average age down in our village, but we have been made very, very welcome. Brilliant, Paul. Hello from Barcelona. Will you be getting any farm animals? We did that earlier on. So watch again. Yeah, they get loads. It's going to be
as many as we can.
An arc. So there was that one question, which I forget now. I'm so sorry.
Planning permission and whatever's the camera.
The camera has been very, very
amazing.
Yeah, very good to work with. We go in with our not so good Portuguese, and they reply in their not so good English in some cases. But we've not had any issues. The property is pre-1951, so it's
everything that we're doing to the house is covered under a building license. So it doesn't have a habitation license because it is pre-51 and exempt, but we can renovate under a building license, which cost €40, and a piece of paper, it was just tick a couple of boxes on a piece of paper, pay our €40, and thank you very much, off you go. Simplest thing I've ever done. It's like permitted development in the UK. So there's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do.
It's a very long list of things you can do, including new windows, new doors, new roof. Just don't do anything with cement or concrete, I think it was.
Or just don't do anything different to using different materials to what you already have.
Don't increase the footprint. But you can even put up, if you tick all the right boxes, you can even put up outbuildings, and you can build walls and fences and
pergolas,
all sorts
kinds of things. And so that set of the things that are on the building license are actually a national thing. It's just the different implementations of the different cameras. So I was actually in the building group in Facebook, and someone's asking about this, and I translated the document into English and shared it in the building Facebook group, because it's really misunderstood what you can and can't do under a building license versus planning permission, i.e. a project. So no project required for us, because we're not extending or doing anything to change the outward appearance of the property.
We're just renovating and refurbishing what's already there.
Yeah, and we do have these outbuildings, which there's a bit of a legal thing. We currently don't own our land, which is a little bit, I know, seems strange, but our lawyer is working on it. and part of that is that these outbuildings aren't registered, but they are also pre-51. We can tell from the foundation. So she's trying to get those registered so that they then get incorporated into the urban plot so that we can develop those. Again, we'd be able to do those under a building license rather than a project, as long as we don't go outside of that footprint.
That's really
the camera's been awesome.
Yep.
And for the princely sum of €40 as well. How far it would have been a bit more expensive in the UK, I suspect, than that, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I need to ask you this because I had a very long waiting time that I'm quite bitter about still. I was in the bank changing the address, and so I say pack a lunch. Yesterday, I should have taken a 10-course Chinese banquet with me. I seriously was praying. I was prone on the floor, everything, whilst waiting for this bureaucratic process to take place inside the bank. Did you have to wait long to get your paperwork done and your camera?
No.
We made an appointment via email.
Yeah.
We went in at the designated time. We waited for the person in front of us to finish.
Yeah.
We then had to wait for the person who speaks English to come out because it's a little bit more technical.
Yes, no, fair enough.
And filling in the form took about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Another 5 minutes to get it photocopied, so we had a copy. Job done.
Yeah,
Central Portugal, folks. Central Portugal, the way to go. I think this is a Central Portugal phenomenon in many of these local cameras. Very good service there. Fabulous. And of course, join us on Thursday night where Central Portugal takes on the Tagus Valley for the title of the best place to live in Portugal. It's going to be exciting. Michael Heron representing Lisboa and the Tagus Valley, and our very own Jerry Lawler representing Central Portugal, who I suspect Guy and Kylie will be rooting for. Last couple of comments then before you go. We have a lot of farm in Poland, but I live in a big city of Katowice. Is that a part of Silesia? Again, probably the central depopulating and people going to the big cities. You two are part of reversing that process, I suspect. And it's important. It's really important, isn't it? Bi-directional car energy. Mark coming to our aid here. He's done a bit of eco-steering rather than Googling. You could charge up domestic batteries. Electric car batteries are about 4 times the power of domestic. So can charge up domestic for sunless periods and recharge at a public charge point. Good to know. A lot of ecological farm, adds Barbara. And are there, final question then, are there YouTube channels you follow for inspiration and information from Louise, who watches you religiously, remember?
Yeah, so I think there is a channel called Simple Living Alaska, and clearly we're not in Alaska, but the concept of simple living, I think we picked up from watching that channel and thinking, could we take that approach to life somewhere warm?
Without the snow.
Without the snow. Oh,
not a fan.
I mean, those guys are little demons.
Hardcore.
Yeah, they're really hardcore. They're wiping off the snow every day off their polytunnel. That's a really great slow down, enjoy life channel that we really enjoy.
Yes.
And then there's a couple of other ones from a building perspective. So there's a channel called The Restoration Couple who do lots of DIY stuff, a huge range of projects, which is very, very good and very informative. And then there's a guy called Chris Harbour Natural Building is also very good. And he does a whole bunch of natural building projects. So he built a roundhouse in the woods. He's built a greenhouse. He's built a workshop.
All by hand.
All by himself and all by hand. Yeah, which is kind of inspiring as well.
And I really like to watch Anne of All Trades. So that's probably the only homesteading style show that we watch, other than the Alaskan Couple.
We watch a lot of YouTube.
Anne of All Trades.
Anne of All Trades. Yeah, it's in the States. I also watch for woodworking. We watch many.
Scott Brown Carpentry.
Scott Brown Carpentry is probably our favorite. So heads up to all the Kiwis out there. Scott Brown. He's a great mate to watch. I don't know him.
You feel like you do, like people think they know you, as you said.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly right. But yeah, we watch a lot of YouTube.
April Wilkinson in the States, Frank Howarth. There's many.
What a lovely thing. Thank you so much for that.
Something else we spend a lot of time watching is Wild Earth. It's South African safaris. Hours and hours of Wild Earth.
Okay, all right. So light relief and contrast there. Yeah, okay, fabulous. Absolutely. Kylie and Guy, you've been amazing this morning. And you are amazing more generally, and you are an inspiration to people. So keep up the good work, and keep working on that underwear range, of course, as well.
You'll be the first to hear about it.
Money spinner. Yes, when you were announcing that, do come back to do that, please. It's been so good to meet you. So good to talk to you, and all the best, boa sorte, with what you're doing there. Fantastic.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Bye for now, and thanks everyone else for their questions as well, for being part of the conversation this morning. Take care. Ciao, ciao. What's your favourite Portuguese goodbye?
Ciao.
Até logo.
That'll do.